Speaking of running sores, this Windrush scandal, Andrew.
Yeah, terrible.
Here's where we're getting to the nitty-gritty of this, right? So now the Home Office has admitted systematic incompetence, or they've been accused of it. They've admitted destroying thousands of vital documents. Then we get into the timeline, right? This was 2010.
October.
Right? When the Home Secretary was Theresa May.
Yeah.
She brought in this hostile environment for illegal immigrants, right? And actually, this document destroying happened on her watch as Home Secretary. The hostile environment led to what we're now seeing. She can sit there apologising all she likes. Theresa May is the person that has been the catalyst for this.
What happened, their Home Office was moving from one building to another, and an official literally shredded these documents. These were landing cards. When these people arrived in Britain, these people were told, don't do it.
This excuse that they claim keeping this would have breached data protection laws, which I think is utterly ludicrous.
What it did was it left people undocumented.
Yes.
Yeah. It was the only documentation that people might have had.
And now we see what's happened with these undocumented people. They can't prove they're supposed to be here.
Yeah, no, Britons travelled here from the Caribbean perfectly legally, often on their parents' passports, as at the time you didn't need a passport yourself. They came here, that was the proof they were here. They now don't have proof they were here. They're being denied medical care. They're being threatened with deportation.
People
Some are being locked up.
And then they can't claim benefits because they're not documented.
Well, and one of the ironies of this, and we're speaking to an example on the programme this morning, Glenda. She'd worked for the NHS for 16 years, the National Health Service, and she lost her job because she was unable to provide this documentation.
And still, what is this, day 4 or something, they still haven't been able to tell us how many people, if any, have been deported. It is completely incompetent by the current Home Secretary and the previous one.
And I think there's a huge financial cost for every individual involved.
Well, the government
so someone like Glenda loses the right to work, loses her job working for our...
She's probably got lawyers involved.
NHS, and she can't get benefits.
I hope they sue them, and I hope they take them to the court.
There is a financial cost. You've got to compensate them, but there is also, can you imagine the emotional cost? You've lost your job, and you're being
Well, also, you think you're going to be kicked out from the country that's your home.
But May can't get off the hook this, though. She'll blame Amber. May is responsible.
Her fingerprints are all over this. And she created a very hostile environment to tackle what she said was illegal immigration. But by getting rid of all these documentations of people, she's created a whole load of bogus illegal immigrants.
Exactly.
People who can't prove they're supposed to be here.
Because what they'll say is, politicians will say, well, this was a decision taken by officials way down the line. But ultimately, the buck stops at the top.
May was making the speeches. She ordered the go-home vans. She also came up with invented stories about how somebody's cat meant they couldn't be kicked out of the country when they weren't here legally. Completely and utterly bogus.
And the bigger problem,
a dreadful atmosphere.
Right, and here's the bigger problem, Kevin, which is, as we head out of Europe, right, this whole issue of documentation is never going to be more important.
3 million EU citizens are now scratching their heads thinking, am I going to be fairly treated by the Home Office?
In a couple of years, registering, paying, come on, the Home Office isn't capable of this. At the very least, if we're going for Brexit, you're going to have to extend this period. You cannot physically do it properly. You just know they're incompetent.
I know.